been IllinoisPrep.com. I am Skylar King alongside Eric Seals. Team number 10 out of 25 that we're going to be previewing leading into the playoffs. So a lot to cover here for Eric and I, and we'll be bringing it all to you leading up to the first round of the IHSA playoffs. This next team, the defending state champions in 5A, Montini Broncos. Last year, 5-4 and made a run. This year, they're 7-2. They're the higher seed in the first one. They got a home game. This is going to be like heaven on earth for Montini, and it's been like that for the last 7 weeks because a tough one in a state title game rematch in the opening week against Joliet Catholic in Joliet, and then they got knocked off 31-9 by Loyola. But since then, they have just been reeling off victories, including Week 9 at home, 27-21 over previously undefeated Marmion. So Montini definitely battle tested.
Yeah, and that's something I remember you were talking about at the beginning of the year, that they set themselves up with a really tough schedule.
Yeah.
So even if they lose those first 2 games where they played 2 top teams in the state, that doesn't mean that they're a bad team, and they can rally back and have a great year, and that's exactly what they've done so far.
Yeah, if you look at their schedule, 3 8-1 teams, 2 6-3s, 2 5-4s, and 2 3-6s. So even the 2 teams with the worst records, they have still won a third of their games. It's not like there's a 1-8 or an 0-9 running around.
Yeah.
So they had teams they were playing really every week that had hopes of making the playoffs at the time the game was played. And this team scores a lot of points. They put up 40 3 times, 50 once, and it's all about
the Western camps.
Yeah, the family connection.
Yeah, the 2 cousins, Matt and Jordan. Matt's quarterback, Jordan's a wide receiver, and even Dan Sharp was saying this when they played, when Montini played Joliet Catholic. It's a dangerous duo,
Yeah.
And they're both very talented, and that's definitely been one of their key components of their offensive firepower.
Yeah, and so much is made of the chemistry that a quarterback and a wide receiver have. They always talk about whenever the Colts draft a wide receiver, Peyton Manning's on the phone with them. He's like, be here to like Monday, 8 a.m. We're running routes. We're learning the playbook. And certainly when you got friends, and in this case relatives, that they have plenty of opportunity to meet up, run routes in the summers. And certainly they could be doing that with all their teammates, but these 2 specifically obviously have a great chemistry and obviously very talented. Jordan Westerkamp, one of the best receivers in the state.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. It's going to be interesting, what happens with them in the playoffs. You were talking about a little bit. They are definitely on the correct, I'm not going to say the right, but the correct side of the bracket. They definitely have, I want to say, easier path.
Oh, it's undoubtedly. I mean, the only team that they're going to see that, in my opinion, that really has some talent to throw around at them is going to be a Vernon Hills team in the semifinals. And that'll be an interesting matchup because we talk about Westerkamp being one of the best receivers in the state. Well, arguably the 2 best receivers in the entire state are both on Vernon Hills.
Yeah.
And Daniels and Spencer. The question with them is, how effective are they going to be? It's been a long season. They're playing both ways, sometimes playing some quarterback, running back. Yeah. And you saw them against Lake Forest, and you said it's sort of weird because you said it looked like they weren't even trying because they were so athletic.
Yeah.
But maybe their heads weren't in that game.
It's hard to tell. I wasn't blessed with having that much talent. You know what I'm saying? I mean, both of those young men are very, very talented, and they were just they were out there, and obviously they they didn't win that game. They lost 21-0 to the Scouts at Lake Forest, and it'll be interesting, because Lake Forest is a bigger team.
Yep.
I would like to see Vernon Hills against someone that's in the same class as them. I don't know if they went into that game knowing what the outcome or what they thought it would be, but I probably need to see Vernon Hills again, and if it's a matchup between Montini, that would be a very interesting matchup.
Because Vernon Hills, certainly because of those 2 elite talents, I mean, are probably capable of pulling an upset of anybody. Even like a Montini or Joliet Catholic. It's just a matter of if they, get them in the right positions to make the plays.
Yeah. And
that's going to be the interesting thing. If those guys show up and play Notre Dame and Ohio State level football.
Not Notre Dame right now.
Yeah, but you know, to the level where you're getting recruited by the Notre Dames and the Ohio States.
Of course.
I picked Montini because I don't think that they had a game like that Lake Forest game where it just seemed like they weren't at it. They've been more consistent.
Yeah.
They've just played a tough schedule where they got knocked off those first couple weeks. But yeah, I think that Montini, we're looking at a rematch in the state title game. Montini, Joliet Catholic, and we've talked about it, playing each other twice.
Oh yeah.
Although by that time it'll be about 13 weeks since they played in the opener.
Yeah, it's a long time.
Certainly a lot of time for teams to make adjustments. I got Joliet Catholic winning it, getting the revenge, but I know how you don't like the teams winning twice.
No, I don't. But this is, well, you know, going to Montini real quick, the one thing that I think about them, you know, this year they're a 6 seed. Last year they were a 12.
Right.
You know, they may have been so hungry and so, hey, we don't deserve to be a 12 seed, and that's what kept them going.
Right.
With them having a little higher seed, I wonder how that's going to affect or not affect the team. When it comes to a rematch against Joliet, now, you know, it was the first game of the year.
Yep.
When they played against each other, Joliet won. So does Joliet feel redeemed from losing to them in the state playoffs? Or now is it Montini saying, oh, you just beat us in our last game, now we're going to take it to you in the state playoffs again? Because I'd rather win in the state playoffs than in the first round.
I think, well, two fronts. First, you talk about, I don't think the Hilltoppers are ever satisfied with anything but a state title. So I don't think that'll be the issue. Here's a Montini. I think they have a good chance of keeping their edge, because if the 3 seed Sycamore wins in the first round, then Montini's got to go to Sycamore.
Yeah.
If I was Montini, I'd be like, we're the defending state champs, and they're sending us to play Sycamore at Sycamore.
Yeah.
I think that's one way they keep their edge, because, you know, they're still probably saying as defending champs, we're a 6 seed.
Yeah.
You know, like
they probably are. It'll be real interesting to see what happens with Montini. Great coaching staff, you know, great program, and they have put some very competitive teams at the beginning of the year, so I think that'll help them. And this is a playoff team. When you say Montini, it's not like, oh, they made the playoffs. It's how far did they get?
Yeah, and certainly you can't underestimate. I love the teams defending state titles, because you know that if nothing else, you know, you may like be like, what's this? You know, what's the given team's edge? Like, you know, what's the motivation in the playoffs? These guys are coming to say, yeah, we were 5-4 last year, but it wasn't a fluke, because we're coming back and we're going to make another deep run.
I think looking at this at the 5A bracket, it's, you know, I think we have less of a chance of seeing our best games being played in the semifinals or quarters. You know, I think it's really set up to hopefully get to the finals.
Yeah, absolutely. Montini or Vernon Hills, if those athletes show up, got a good chance of playing a Joliet Catholic, a Richwoods, or a Sacred Heart Griffin, who are all real tough teams this year. So very little to be disappointed about at the end of the 5A playoffs. So when we come back next time here on MLRPrep.com, it will be team number 11 in the previews of our playoff teams.